By the end of this week, I have had enough. Somebody was telling me, saying, basta. It's Italian for enough. And started off the week once again, a black man resisting arrest, and then this time a police officer shooting him 7 times. We all know what's going to happen next: a violent riot. Just want to close my eyes. And then, why are there militia with guns in the street? Protesters are killed, clashes between each other. Then there's the COVID virus. And happen to deal with that. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of it. And many priests are very fearful, including myself, of whether people will come back to church when the dust clears. How do you evangelize in this? Then there's the convention of the past 2 weeks and listening to the vitriol, the hate between the two parties. And to top it off, there's a hurricane. I don't want to talk about this stuff. I'm sure you don't want to hear it, do you? You know, how about a fun homily? You know, that's what I want, a fun homily. I want to close my eyes, but I want to hit the easy button. Don't you want to just hit the easy button? Forget about all this. Let's talk about something else. Peter wants to hit the easy button in the gospel. Jesus says, I am going to have to suffer and die, and then I will rise. And Peter, the man who just said that Jesus is the Christ, forbid that, God forbid that happens. No, no, no. Well, if you're the leader, I'm following the leader, and guess what's going to happen next? You know, he knows what's going on. He's a smart cookie. You know, we don't want this to happen. Let's just hit the easy button, Lord, right? It's living, but Jesus is saying it's not only living, but it's suffering and dying for the gospel that will only bring new life, rising. The challenge to Peter, take up your cross. The challenge to us, to take up our cross, even when we are exhausted, even when we've had enough. Basta. When I think about this situation, I found this shocking statistic. Maybe you've heard this already. But when it comes to the racism in our country, 1 in 3 black men will end up behind bars at some point in their life. Do you think you can get a job after you've been to prison? After you're a felon? You are a social leper. And, you know, the question that I've always said is, where are the fathers? Where are the fathers? Well, I think part of the answer is they're in prison. And there's this vicious cycle. The fatherless child seeks the substitute of a father in a gang. The child becomes a man. The man becomes a father, has a child, and then all he knows is violence. And so, guess what? He goes to jail. Another fatherless child. It's a vicious cycle. You know, I don't want to talk about this stuff, but I got to say, like Jeremiah, it boils up. I mean, he says, I don't want to talk about this no more, but it just boils up in my bones. I can't endure it. I have to speak out. Does it make you want to cry? I think maybe half the battle is just knowing what's happening, that this is part of the cycle. And racism adds to it. And then maybe part of the battle is letting other people know this is the cycle. Somewhere to intervene in any of this and all of this, where, any part. You know, I think, is it politically incorrect to say that a child needs a father? Sometimes I feel like that's the case. We all need a father. Then there's the COVID. We're called to take up our cross to deal with racism. We're called to take up the cross in facing COVID. I know I'm so tired of it in that, but the challenge for me to keep socially distanced. I know other people are angry about it, but I'm going to stay the course for me. And I'm not going to play into their anger. My brother is telling me that he likes the new pews in his house. But he promises me that he'll come back. How can we evangelize? Maybe we can tell people, hey, watch the Mass. Watch the homily. You know, to get them to come further in. Or I think about this hatred, how we're split as a country. Can we rise above that? Because you see that the suffering and dying, I got to remind you, it's not the end of the story. That we stay the course, continue to take up our cross, and we will rise. That we are the yeast in this world. To trust that pattern. We put in our trust in other things. To challenge to see that there's something greater over all, our God, and that God who loves us through all of this storms will raise us up.